right, we were the class of '68. I'm Dan Spillman, Coach Juarez's first year. I played in the outfield, and all I remember was he was in the best shape of his life, and he made us run sprints and stuff until he got tired, and he was in great shape. So that was it was an experience for us. So I don't know, something we'll never forget.
My name's Mark Cheney, and I played middle infield, class of '68. And I'd just say that we did a lot of running, but we were in great shape. Coach said that we lost 8 one-run ball games during the season. I remember the first day he took a look at us, and in deciding what to do, he told us to take a lap. And then as we circled the outfield and came back in, he said, well, I wanted you to take a lap. And he led us out to Olive, where we took a left to G Street and came back. Later in the season, we learned how to go out to the college and turn left on Yosemite, turn left on M Street, turn another left on Olive, come back on G Street to the baseball field. We didn't win any section titles or Central Coast titles, but it was known that we were probably the best track team in the state of California. Les?
Yeah, my name is Les Contreras. I'm the class of '68. Coach Juarez's first baseball team here at Merced, and I was played shortstop. And like Mark and Dan said, running is something that we did a lot of. But not only that, is anything Coach would show us to do, he did it himself first. I mean, he was the leader, and by that I mean, if you didn't do it right, he'd show you how to do it, because he was still, like Dan said, in a remarkable shape, and he could just do it. He was a great coach and a great leader, you know. But like Mark said, we did do some running, and his wife Sharon was there to witness it, so she could attest to that fact. So. Coach, you did a hell of a job. Thank you.
One more thing in regards to running, unbeknownst to Coach Juarez, as we were circling the city, running laps, unbeknownst to him, there was a fellow on campus, Coach Caldwell, and he was the cross-country coach. Unbeknownst to Coach Juarez, he was trying to recruit us to the cross-country team.
But even after the season, we've always been considered part of his family, and so we've been his extended family for ever since 1968. So thank you, Dick. Love you.
Charlie Davis, 1972. Well, we can go back a little further than that. 1968 through 1972. American Legion and high school and Babe Ruth. Outfielder, cleanup hitter, means a home run hitter. And me and Coach, we go back quite a bit, a few years. I love him with all my heart. I remember all those days that he came to pick me up and to go to our games. And I never regretted it, and I don't think he did either, as long as I was hitting it over the fence.
Hey, Coach, it's about time you got a good honor. Congratulations. And this is Joey Alvarez, your first team, 1968. Congratulations.
Coach Juarez, it was truly a pleasure being a player of yours, and taught me many, many memories. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Had many memories. Thanks a lot.
And Todd Jardine, class of '86. You were a hell of a coach, hell of a mentor. Memories that'll last forever. Love you.
I want to announce or bring up here Justin Tarley, the current head coach of the Merced High baseball team. So he is carrying the mantle for you now, Coach. You can hold him accountable. And then we got a few speakers who are going to come up and say a few words. So, Justin, can you come up here and just give a little background on him?
Absolutely. For those of you that don't know this, Mitch Temple graduated from Florida Gulf Coast University. I'm just kidding, Georgetown. Those of you following the NCAA tournament or paying attention at all, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Florida Gulf Coast. Sending my kids there. I'm going to keep this brief. First of all, because Rolo has indicated to me that he'd like to speak, and we only have the room until midnight. Secondly, because the current team is 500, and I'm not comfortable in the shadow of these gentlemen, such as Coach Juarez and Coach Souza, speaking about these things when we are only 500. But I promise you, it'll get better. Just briefly, the way this came about was when I was in the running for being fortunate enough to get this position as head coach of Merced baseball. I started thinking about the past, and Coach Juarez, who we may have met once. Yeah, Mom and Dad. I thought a lot about it. I looked up, I did research, and it just so happened that my 20-year high school reunion was coming up, and his daughter Liz is married to one of my best friends ever, Craig Dixon, and I saw her there, and I said, "Hey Liz, I got to do something for your dad. I don't know what it is. Is it going to be throwing out the first pitch at our first game? I'm not sure what it's going to be." And we sort of moved on from there, and she said, "That would be great, you would love it," yada, yada, yada. About 3 weeks later, I go into the bar at the Branding Iron, and Greg Band is sitting there, which was a big surprise to me that he was sitting at the bar at the Branding Iron. And he said, "Sorry, man, he's gonna punch me in the nose later. That's okay. I'll recover, I promise." And Banda said, "We got to do something for Coach." I said, "Banda, the ball's rolling. It's rolling already. If you want to be a part of it, great. We'll get it going." And so we decided to do this Hall of Fame. I've been a part of, my wife, who teaches and coaches at Atwater High School. They have their Hall of Fame for their school, and I loved the idea. I've attended several of them. They do a great job there, and I thought this would be something that we should do for the Merced High School baseball program. So we sort of just went in that direction. I thought Coach would be the perfect initial inductee. And I'm honored to be here today. I look at everybody that's shown up. I looked at my text messages today from Stephanie Guerrero, who is a part of my dugout club. And on March 4th, I wrote a text message to her. How many people do we have playing golf? And how many are going to go to the dinner? And she said, "We have 12 people playing golf and 4 people going to the dinner." I said, "Okay, we better get the word out." And we did, and look what happened. All these people are here to honor this man. And thank you for that. Another thing that I wanted to do before moving forward with this idea was to get the blessing of Gary Coor, who I'm sure you all know. He's been putting on this golf tournament in memory of his son. And so I went to him to make sure I wasn't stepping on any toes. And he said, "Justin, I think it's a great idea, go for it." So thank you, Gary. Where is Gary? He left the building. He's been very supportive of this idea, and hopefully we can continue this tradition. Going forward, I plan on putting together a committee, hopefully of about 7 people that are going to decide on who to induct on a yearly basis. It might be 1 individual, it might be 2. I'm going to leave it up to them. I have several people that are already going to be involved. Bobby Johnson, where's Bobby Johnson? There he is, back there. Bobby Johnson, Greg Banda, Coach Petiti, hopefully Coach Souza, although he's jumped ship a little bit. Hopefully we can get him involved. He's wearing orange and black today. Thank you, Coach. Very nice of you. And also, not only are we going to continue this tradition, we would like to put something up at the field. This is a Photoshop mock-up of something we would like to put up somewhere around the baseball field to honor individuals involved in the program over the years. And hopefully I can work with Mr. Ingram, who has been gracious enough to donate an item tonight. I'll keep that a secret, to give something like this. I know he's eating. Don't look at me like that, probably. So hopefully we're going to put this up on the field somewhere for everybody to see. Game day, the opposition walks by, sees this, feels the presence of Merced High School baseball, past and present. That's the idea. In closing, I'd like to thank Berna, Lucas, and the Country Club staff. Where's Berna? Thank you, Berna. Great job. They've been yelling at me for several months, and they've done a great job. Thank you, Berna. The Dugout Club, the Merced High School Baseball Dugout Club, Stephanie Guerrero. Where's Stephanie? Stephanie is, I don't even want to say, I mean, unbelievable. She's still working. Look at her. She's moving chairs around. For what reason, I have no idea. But she's still working. Debbie, thank you very much. Barbie, Josie, the parent volunteers for the golf tournament today. Outstanding job. You know, we really, oh, there we go. Must have been good. We really appreciate it. I can't say enough about them. I would also like to say, and this sounds like a shameless plug, but we had a lot of sponsors. I'd like to thank all of them. I don't want to go run through that list. Horn of Subs donated 100 sandwiches to the golf event, which is big for them, and it's big for us, and we really appreciate them. My mom and dad, for all of their help, I won't tell you what they did, but they helped out big time. And my coaching staff, who has been outstanding for me, and I can't say enough about them. I really appreciate it. And lastly, the woman that had a brain malfunction when she agreed to marry me, my wife, Lexi. And I skipped over this name, I apologize, Liz. So I'm going to give the mic back to Mitch, the Florida Gulf Coast graduate. And I want you all to enjoy this evening. Thank you very much.
Justin forgets baseball's a game about who bats last. Lexi, I want you to know that Sharon told me tonight that she never had any fights with her husband except the first year he coached. So, good luck. Hey, Coach, we got a great leadoff hitter for you. This guy is pure enthusiasm. There's a lot of ball players in here who are better because of this person. I think he's a great fit because he shares your passion and intensity for the game and your love of the game and for the love of the players that play it with you. So without further ado, a former player of Coach Juarez's, a former coach of a lot of us. We all owe this guy. I love this guy. Coach Scott Hay.
Let's shake a little bit. Let's get it going. All right. I'm Scott Hay. I think the itinerary I have 0 minutes to talk, the official thing, and I'm going to go over by a whole lot, so whatever there. All right. You hear for Coach, I'm just going to, my whole purpose here is to flood memories with as many people as I can, and especially you, Coach. And just, I hope you're feeling the love and respect that this crowd can give you here. And I'm going to start, it's kind of like taking you through a little bit, but I started knowing who Coach Juarez was when my brother Wayne started playing. Played in the early 70s to 75. Names like Jerry Garvin, you know, and just names like, man, those are out there, the Dallases and just like names that are out there that are so important and something to look up to. Love that stuff. I mean, love just being a part of this. And also my brother in, I think it was summer of 75 or 76, they got to go Legion baseball in Hawaii. That was fantastic. I got to go as just a kid, whatever, at that time. That was good. All right. Then, as I got to play, I started in 76. I got to, as a freshman on his team. And as a freshman, you know, there's normally one freshman team. Coach had made sure there was enough guys there that there were 2 teams. There's an A and B freshman team. And I guarantee if there was one team, I wouldn't be there. Okay. And so I'm just appreciative as that is how bad he wanted kids to stay in this program. He had enough coaching. There was Clark and Leffy, I think, were our 2 coaches back then, to give us a chance to play. Going through to, that was in 76, going through to 78 when I was a junior, still, personally, wasn't, you know, very good ball player necessarily. But Coach had, 78, boy, and Bobby will talk about it, but 78 is one of the greatest teams in our section's history. So he'll go on about that later. But in 78, I was, we had enough juniors, he got enough kids to play, and instead of cutting kids, he created teams. He created a team. We had, I think, Robert Nush pitched every game for us. But we had about 9 or 10 of us. We'd go off and we'd play other schools, and just to keep our skills honed and everything. And I thought that was just great, getting to play and getting to hear about this 78 team that was so good and making, you know, doing so well. And a little bit later, and this was coached, I think, by John Montano, and Coach asked John if there's anybody that, you know, can bring up to be a part of the playoffs, and then Rudy Flores and I got a call. We got to be up there and be a part of that 78 run, which was just fantastic. So just something that Coach created extra teams. He created extra means of people to play, just in case, like, and all that. Without that, I wouldn't be here right now either. Then in 79, senior year, it was just, I mean, for us it was magical. After that great year that we had in 78, 79 was kind of the aftermath, but we had a lot of talent also. We kept, you know, battling in. I'll throw out some things that I was just thinking about, because, geez, the memories were just a flooding. I remember from 79. I remember being taught how to trick slide. I remember I had a slide and jump my foot around here and touch the base kind of thing. I remember that vividly. That was just one day. I don't remember a lot of, you know, just individual days, but that was like, oh, that trick slide was fantastic. that's a great idea to try to get away and get the call kind of thing. That was wonderful. I remember doing the worst thing ever is doing this run rabbit run thing. Anybody ever a part of that? This is when you get everybody around the base, you got to keep running until somebody catches somebody. That was just, this is horrid, and like, oh my goodness, I wasn't fast. And so running around bases like that, but I know what you're teaching us. We had such a thing that we're supposed, every time you're on the green, you're supposed to hustle. So if you're touching the green, you better be running from place to place. Or you get the hustle drill. Good gosh, the hustle drill. There we go. We're going like, here's the hustle drill. Everybody, right here. Okay, go touch that sign. Go, go, go. You better go fast. We're going to keep going on hustle drill. Our whole team at 79 is like, you don't do this or we're going to have the hustle drill. We got the hustle drill. Let's go. You know, so, gosh, why are we doing it? Okay, it's a good idea. I'm just, this is good. This is going to be good for me in the future here. Okay, so we had stations upon stations. Coach had a bazillion stations. One of them had, he finds innovative things. You know, this is fantastic. I think the one with the fan. There's a little fan thing that went at the end of a bat. Do you remember that thing? There's a little, I don't know what that thing was called, a power swing or something, but we had just a station, you know, like a 5-minute station. We're swinging the power swing. It's just a big old fan thing, and that just drug our bat through as we were practicing that. God, where is that today? That would be great. Yeah, it's just still a good place at that. That would be great. And I wasn't sure. Is this a balance belt? Did we do that one? Oh, the balance belt. Okay, here, Coach Juarez, he gets a sensei to come out and he teaches us balance. This is just great stuff. And at the end of this, we get you know, this balance belt thing that two people compete with each other. Again, it's one of the greatest things. I don't remember which year that was or whatever, but that was later on. I'm probably jumping ahead, as I will right now. But that balance belt thing I thought was great. I remember polishing shoes. You all remember that. Anybody that played, your shoes weren't polished, you weren't playing. Does anybody here remember actually Coach's his team that he wanted to beat more than anybody? It was Turlock. Okay, they remember that. Okay. As I jump ahead, you know, it is what it is. It is, so, as Turlock is it, but we'll finish up in '89. We have some stuff at Turlock there, whatever. Okay. Also had a little adversary, too, in the Easter tournament, right? When our teams would go down and play, and I know we had the 78 team had a 1-0 victory over Bullard. I know Mike Noakes was another. It was a great one to get when you had the Mike Noakes there. Also in '79, real quick, I actually in all of high school, that '79 is when I actually, in the very last game, actually my senior year, I got a start for Coach. I'm just a ball player. I just loved the game, and it wasn't my time. And Coach gave me a start in the last game, and I ended up getting a couple of hits, and we find out on the bus ride home that we end up, I don't know, Bayer lost or something, but we found out that we made the playoffs, and good gosh, I didn't know if that was, okay, somebody else is still gonna, no, I got to play in the playoffs. I got a couple of 3 hits in the first game, and I was like, oh man, my confidence just boosted when I got that one. I was just being ready for that one start that Coach gave me. That was awesome. And we ended up in the section championship that year. I think we lost in a 3-run homer. I don't know if you remember that. That was one walk-off. We were 2-1 playing Lincoln, and that's not the memory. I mean, I do remember this stuff. It is what it is. All right. Does anybody that played for Coach, you remember all the summer stuff that you did, right? And which teams you played for, all 2 or 3 of them kind of thing? You played for all kinds of teams. You went to tournaments. Some of you remember these Lafayette tournaments we went to and all the fun we had there. I just leave it for you. Anybody that wants to open mic later, share whatever. But I'm just saying that the summer tournaments were fun, and I just cannot believe, I mean, in the summer that manning the 3 teams or whatever, that he's really doing these things all by himself. And that's also a tribute to Sharon. And good gosh, that a big, you know, way to go, Sharon. But he is just, that's how gun-ho. Yeah, and that's why I love Coach. All right, then, let's skip ahead a little bit. Going in 80, I think it was 80, in 81, Coach came out to the college and asked then, and I think that's when Kim was going through her stuff there, that he wanted some help during the summer. And I was just playing at the college and everything, and he just asked if anybody, you know, if they wanted to coach anytime during the, you know, for the summertime, and I just thought, geez, there was a call. I just, you know, as I felt called, it was like, yeah, I'm supposed to do this, and I, you know, like, who am I to do this? Where I probably played like 3 games for you, kind of thing, and I go, but that was it. That was the start of, that was what, in 81 in the summer, or yeah, probably 81 in the summer, till I've been coaching Legion baseball until 94, until Angola took over. But I thought that was just awesome. Getting a chance to coach Legion baseball just told me, like, how in the heck did Coach do this all this time? I have no idea. Finally, I get to coach. I'm done playing baseball. I'm still coaching summertime. I get to go in 1988. Coach asked me to come coach with him at high school, and the 88-89 years was Richie's last couple of years, and I jumped on that opportunity. I thought that was awesome. 88 was our Fat Boys year, wasn't it? That was the Rod Moransky and everything, and the clutch hitting, and how we call them? The favorite song. Remember that? I don't know which game we won in the playoffs that year, but we were dancing the aisles in the bus to the Fat Boys singing "Crushin'." I don't remember that, but nobody else knows that song, so look it up or whatever. It's got to be. Look at that. Total Russian. I still remember it's kind of ravish or whatever. But whatever. Okay. Moving on here. Right? So I'm already, like, what am I, 20 minutes over the limit already, but whatever.
Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
I'm going because that's the way it is. Okay. 89. My last year, and Coach's last year of coaching was Richie's last year. We had Jerry Torres and Goza and Tatum and Pacheco and everybody, and Johnny Trujillo, and we got all kinds of guys. And what a scrappy thing. I just want one thing about that year, with Richie's last year, which just was awesome. Richie's still like one of my worst, Richie. Go ahead and mess up, Richie. But still one of the greatest players I've ever coached. Just the greatest attitude. I mean, there's no wonder. I mean, just following your dad. And of course, my son is a product of his father, or whatever. But anyway, that's a great product right there.
We were a very talented team, but we would not have been as successful as we were without Coach Juarez at the helm. He was the perfect coach for a nearly perfect team. We had spent 4 years playing for Coach when you consider that he coached all 3 Summer League teams. Back then it was Legion 1, Legion 2, and Babe Ruth. Coach Juarez coached them all, and most of us played on multiple teams. We were taught many invaluable lessons along the way. Some of the things he taught us was that it's not about you, it's about us. There was never any preferential treatment for certain players. Everyone had to practice hard, and play with class by showing respect for the umpires, the opponent, and the game itself. The 20th man on the squad and the team manager were treated the same as anyone else. Our team manager was Nick Rocco, who is here tonight. What Coach did for Nick is a story in itself. Coach gave Nick a ride home every day. It would have been easy for Coach to ask one of us to give Nick a ride, but he did it himself. If you played for Coach, you had to hustle, because there was absolutely no other way to play the game. He would tell us, we may get beat, but we will never get out-hustled. Nobody ever out-hustled a Coach Juarez-led team. You had to polish your cleats and wear black shoelaces. And your hair had to be trimmed, even though this was the 70s. And everybody had long hair back then. With Coach Juarez, it was important to look like a ball player and act like one. You entered the Merced High baseball program as a boy, and because of Coach's tutelage, you left a man. It was all of the little things that Coach stressed that made us better players, but in the big picture, it made us all better people.
When Justin first called me about doing this, I was blown away. We had recently received the news that my dad's cancer had spread, and I just felt like the timing was perfect, and I couldn't think of a better way to honor this great man who has dedicated his life to the youth in this community. And over the last few months, as we've been going through pictures, and I've been in contact with quite a few players and coaches, I've been overwhelmed by such a great flood of memories. And tonight, seeing all of you here, this is just so amazing. Growing up, the youngest daughter of Merced High School's baseball coach, coaching was not just a career for my dad. It was a way of life. And by the time I came around, my family was firmly entrenched in that lifestyle. The baseball field was like our second home, and you all were an extended part of our family. And in the Juarez household, Dad, you took on many roles. You were father, husband, friend, king of tap-tap chairback, the ultimate mud fighter, the one who could transform our living room into a football arena or a baseball stadium. You were the champion of home run derby and wiffle ball tournaments. And you were the man who could make a million different silly faces and who loved to tell funny stories and who constantly teased our mom. You've always been an encourager and always there to remind us to focus on the positive. To us kids who had the privilege of calling you Dad, you were and still are our hero. But over the last few months, I began to see a whole new side of you. As we've been going through pictures and newspaper articles, I read things about you like the best athlete to ever romp the fields at Livingston High School, or one of the greatest all-around athletes to come out of the San Joaquin Valley. And I learned about all the records you set and the awards you received, including Northern California Athlete of the Year. Wow. And then it dawned on me that you weren't just our hero. With an athletic career like that, you were the hero of every kid who grew up in Merced County back then. And you were the type of role model that I would want my own kids to look up to. You were known as a guy who was friendly to everyone. And through all 4 years of high school, with all the sports you played, you held a job in which you worked every day after school and every Saturday in order to help support you and your mom. And I've heard stories of how you would go to school and then you'd run over to the supermarket, and then you'd run back to practice, and then you'd run home. And when it came to a decision between work and sports, you always put work first. Who declines a free trip to visit a college campus because they were on the schedule for their job? I've tried to imagine what it must have been like for you to have your pick from the 18 different colleges that offered you scholarships for baseball and football, and then to have those plans shattered by a knee injury. But you kept going because you had a goal. And on the very night that the Chicago Cubs were going to sign you to a contract, you re-injured your knee, and those hopes and dreams were again shattered in an instant. The scouts were there at the game. They drove you to the hospital. They heard the news right along with you. Devastating. For many people, that would have been it. Something like that would have broken them, but not for you. Instead, you used that passion or that situation to fuel an even greater passion inside of you. You became coach. And I would bet that if you had it to do all over again, there's nowhere else you would have rather been than right there at Merced High School. in your number 36 uniform, influencing the lives of fine young men. Why didn't we know all of these things about you, though? Why are the majority of us here tonight hearing this for the first time? All these athletic accomplishments. Because these types of accomplishments ought to give someone bragging rights. But that's not who you are. One of the greatest qualities about my dad is that beneath the intense, passionate, and fired up coach that we all know him as, you are a very humble man. You've never given much weight to stats and awards and records. You care more about the content of a person's character. And I recently heard someone say that a career is what you get paid to do. A calling is what you were made to do. Dad, you were made to coach. And you did so with such enthusiasm and passion that we all wanted to be a part of your team. I can remember how I couldn't wait until I was old enough to get to sport the little number 8 jersey that you saw in the pictures up there. My mom homemade the jersey, did the iron-on Merced. And I don't know how old I was exactly when I finally got my chance to put that jersey on. But I definitely remember how huge it felt inside of my heart. Because that was when I got to become the Batgirl. And it was such an honor to be able to sit in the dugout with all the players and to get to be parts of the team circle. And I can still remember how proud I felt sitting next to you on the bus. It was on those bus rides home that you would teach me little lessons about life. And although looking back, I realize it must have been after a win, because we all know that if the Varsity Bears lost the game, the bus ride home was long and silent. Yeah. One particular night, though, you talked to me about always giving 100% and the importance of honoring my commitments. And as the Batgirl, I did my job for about 3 or 4 innings, and then I was ready to go out and play with the kids. But you reminded me about the commitment I had made to you and to the team. And the things you said made me want to do my best, made me want to stay out there for the whole game and finish strong. And then you bribed me with money, and that's always good. Tactics I've learned with my own kids. But it didn't matter to you if we were the bat boy or the ace pitcher. Every person's role on the team was significant. And you taught us to take pride in our team, whether that team be a baseball club, or a company that we work for, or a family unit. From you, I learned to honor my teammates and the importance of representing my team well. You have this amazing ability to believe the best in everyone. You see beyond the surface and look right into our hearts, to see us not as we are, but as God intended us to be. And you help me realize that we all have an ability to accomplish far more than we think that we're capable of. And it was that way with everything. If anyone asked you who you're rooting for in a particular game, the answer was always the underdog. You love to see people succeed beyond what is expected of them. And I know that we're here tonight to honor my dad, but I just want to take a moment to recognize my mom, Sharon, because from the time she was a freshman in high school, Sharon Juarez, or Sharon Nye at the time, was Richard Juarez's #1 fan. And last year, we celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, and I have to say that even after all these years, Sharon Juarez is still Richard Juarez's #1 fan. And I believe that Dad is the man that he is today, in great part because of the woman that you are. You put the needs and desires of your husband and family in front of your own. And I've never heard you speak a negative word about our dad. Not to us, and never in front of us. You are the ultimate encourager. Rich has heard one. had your share of life's challenges, but the two of you together have been an awesome example of sacrifice and compromise and teamwork. And I look around at the couples and the people that you've surrounded yourselves with, and I realize that they are all people who share those same values. What an incredible legacy. But the greatest lesson that I learned from the example that my dad set on the ball field is that the first and most important thing in life is to always take care of number one. Your faith in God has had such an incredible impact on my life. You will never know how much it's meant to me. Your faith wasn't just about going to church on Sunday and paying your dues. It has been every part of the way that you've lived your life. So much that for 22 years, before and after every game, you circled your team up and you prayed together as a team. There was no judgment upon anyone who didn't share the same belief as you, but there was also no question as to what your number one was. Even in the middle of games, when you weren't quite sure what to do in a situation, you'd pray to God for wisdom, and you'd have the answer. And we all have very clear memories in our house of coming home or finding my dad asleep at the table in the middle of the night with his Bible in front of him and all of his prayer books, and there he'd be, just asleep. But it's that faith that has cemented your marriage and held together your family through many hardships, like the loss of a daughter and a wife in a body cast for almost 2 years with 4 young children at home. And when your wife was hit by a motor scooter while 7 months pregnant, and it was recommended that you terminate that pregnancy, it was your faith that caused you to choose life for your 4th child. And I stand here today with an amazing husband and 3 precious children, because when I was faced with the most difficult time in my own life, I had a father who looked beyond my circumstances and called upon his God, who can make all things possible. It's because of you that I've committed my own life to serving your God, because once again, I want to be a part of your team. All of my life, I've heard you say, I just want to do something great for the good Lord. And to that, I just have to say, look around you. Stop, take a moment, and breathe this all in. Each one of these people here tonight are here because you've touched their life in a positive way. And there are so many more people that wanted to be here tonight and couldn't be. You want to do something big for the Lord? You already have.
Richie, you want to? No, you're good. You're good to go? No, we can just break it up for a second. No. Justin, how's that for a job description, huh? Feeling pretty confident about your role as a head coach for Merced High Baseball, Tennessee Tide. John. Wow. Solis is back there. Sousa's back there.
I'd rather be in the restaurant
They're all
business.
licking their chops. Good luck, boy. Good luck. You dug yourself a grave tonight. That was,
I didn't go to Georgetown.
He was back there, actually. He took a break. He went back and filled out an application for his real estate license about halfway through the toast. Thinking of his second career. Jeez. Well-organized fundraiser tonight. Some people would say that. I see it as one man's desperate plea for help. But Coach, do you have, Rich, you want to? All right. This is the most creative pitcher I have ever seen, bar none.
Unfortunately, when I get behind the mic, I don't do as good.
I never knew what to call him.
Never told me to call him coach. He never told me to call him dad. In fact, I went my whole playing career never calling him anything, just looking over and he'd go. And I go, well, that's what I'm supposed to do. I think that's it. He'd look and go. And I go, I saw it. I got it. I kind of picked up on that one. First, coach is a teacher. I spent a lot of time with my dad at school, watching him deal with the kids there, and I'm doing it today. I'm following in his footsteps. Little did I know, the time of 8 that I was going to be a teacher, I did. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do what Dad did. That's cool. He gets to go pick on kids every day, give them a hard time, send them away going, what is he talking about? And I love every minute of it. At school, you never know what's going to happen. I still live by that rule. Come into class and they're expecting this, give them that. Love it. Constant and consistent. You're a constant, consistent teacher all the time. You're always in their eye. They're always looking at you. They're looking for what they're supposed to do. And you give that to them. You've done that my whole life. You've always been there. You've always shown me. Never had to say anything. You just went, I saw that, Dad. I got that one. Next, coach is a parent. At home, it didn't change. People. They come home, Mom would say, pick up the house, he'd run over the corner and go, yeah, too heavy. Not doing it right now. At the ball field, as a parent, he was a parent to all of you. I know that. I saw it my whole entire life. I got to watch each one of you play baseball. Except for the people who were born before 1970. 1970 on, I watched all of you play. I watched you play. Little did you know when I was running my little cars in the dirt, playing in front of you, going, get the hell out of my way. You're in the way all the time. I was watching you. I watched everything you did. Next. Coach is a husband. My mom is absolutely the most tolerant person in the entire world. To go through 2 of us playing ball and doing me being exactly like him, without a doubt. She's given a lifetime of laughter to Mom. She constantly laughs. She has to. Trust me. She still goes to games. She pushes dads out to go. She pushes dad all the time. Let's go watch a game. Let's go watch it. It doesn't matter what it is. She goes out and watches the girls play softball. She comes to volleyball games. She just loves sports. They watch football every day. I mean, anytime it's on, they're going to football games. They're watching everything. And they're not just watching it. They're discussing it, which is even weirder. Those 2 can watch a baseball game and go back and forth. And you don't even hear it. You're like, she should have been there at the back door. And that's my mom. She's making those little comments. I know, I see it all the time. And Mom, I want you to know that Dad is absolutely lucky to have you. And I found somebody else who's just like you. Thank goodness. Got your earlier one. She was crazy too. Next up, coach is a coach. He's given all of you the words that you go out there and coach by. He has. The sayings you have, you use them. I know you do. And then you go, ooh, that's a coachism. Coach Juarez gave me that. Sayings, you can't get rid of them. They're stuck in your head for life. All the little things that you do, the way that you look at something every time you polish your shoes. You look down, you polish your shoe, you go, Coach taught me that. Not taught me, he made you. Or you did not play. There wasn't a time where I did not think about polishing my shoes. And I remember one time on the bus, frantically, because I forgot, polishing my shoes with anything that I had. Spit, I was spitting on my shoes, grabbing them, going, I hope he doesn't notice, I hope he doesn't notice. So luckily somebody in the back had a thing of shoe polish that I got to clean them up on. It was the first time and the last time that ever happened. Coach is a coach. Man. He's always to teach. He coaches the game. He taught me how to raise my own family. He taught you how to raise your own family by watching. And he also taught you to play and love the game. When you got done, it didn't matter who you were. I saw all of you, and that's why you're here. You played, you loved the game, and you still love it. I'm sure all of you are coaching in some aspect. I got a bunch of texts from my sister that was flying through, people talking about what I do or how I coach, or I still coach like that, or here I throw out an orange ball, a black ball, all kinds of those little things, and you're using them because he gave them to you. And trust me, they weren't in a book. He didn't pick them up, he made them up. I'm still trying to do that, but I still use those. It's easier, way easier, and they're still good. Fantastic. And last but not least at all, Coach is a dad. As my father, it's not what he said, it's what he didn't say. There hasn't been a time in my life where he hasn't led by example. He never had to say anything, you saw him doing it. If there was something to be done, he led you by example. He pushed you to your limits. He made sure 100% that you were the best that you can be. And if he didn't, he rode your ass until you did. I've learned billions of things from my father, and none of them that I could ever put to words. Because as I move and as I breathe today, I do them. And I catch myself going, oh, damn it, Dad. I'm just like you. And with that, I say thanks, Dad. It's been fantastic. I've loved it. Congratulations on being the first person in the Hall of Fame. That's just awesome. Coach, want to take the mic for a little bit? Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much. Man, all I can say is wow. I can say it backwards too. Wow. Wow. I thought the same way. You know, you see a gathering of people like this, and you know, friends, relatives, acquaintances, good acquaintances. And it's usually at a funeral or a wedding or an anniversary. And as the kids told you, we had our 50th this last summer, last June. And it was a 3-day deal. They put it together, almost kept it a secret from us. We didn't know who was coming. We had no idea. Except for a few people, but other than that, so blame them. He didn't come. I mean, they tried to do their best, and I know that some people were left out, but we still love you all. I need my glasses. Anyway, like I said,
Cut the camera.
I'm not trying to look cool. Thank you. Anyway, that's better. Anyway, this is special tonight. And the reason it's special is because it's not just about me and what I accomplished. It includes every single one of you that is here. The ball players, their parents, their girlfriends, some of their friends, some of the fans, spectators,
my wife, my children, you know, our good friends, our relatives. It includes everybody that had a part in your life. And that's why this award is so much more to me, because I received some other awards when I was playing and participating, and yeah, that's the things that I accomplished, and you know, you get recognized for, but actually, this means much more to me than those, because it includes all of you, like I said, and especially my family and my ball players. One of the special people in my life that, well, actually my assistant coach, that's my wife. And I don't say that lightly, because if I feel so blessed to be able to say up here, there's not too many people that are married that complete each other, that just mesh. Everything works beautiful, and always there for you, loves what you do, follows you everywhere and everything that you did, drags your kids along, so they think that, you know, Thanksgiving you eat off of a paper plate. And it's a picnic lunch, not a turkey. It's ball game food. And I can talk with her because she understands the game, football and baseball. And I think Rolo, is Rolo here? Rolo here? Sneak off. You remember that sophomore game we played against? We played in Atwater. I don't know why, maybe because it rained and so forth, but we played against a Modesto team in Atwater, and it was a championship game. And the play was one of those kind of trick plays where the quarterback, which was Rolo Adams, you take the ball and you hand it off to a halfback, and he goes back this way, the quarterback goes back this way. Of course, nobody's supposed to pay attention to the quarterback anymore because he doesn't have the ball. And you come back and then you stop and you pass it across the field to the quarterback. And hopefully you score. Well, my wife, you know, why don't you do this play? I said, that's a play that's been done. It'll work, and it does work. And yeah, maybe, I guess we'll try it. We worked on it. That's the play that won us that championship. But it's nice to be able to have somebody that loves the game as much as you do. You know, coming off of, I don't know, she was pregnant and went to 100 and something ball games, 60 something. All together, and then we come to the summer, and it's right before football season. We got a week and a half or so to maybe do something. I said, Sharon, I said, we got a week and a half. Let's go somewhere. Let's just do something. I said, what do you want to do? She says, I want to go see a Major League Baseball game. Sharon, let's do something. I want to get away. I mean, she says, no, that's what I want to do. I want to go see a Major League Baseball game. So, does she like the game? Going back and reminiscing a little bit about some of the teams and so forth, and you know, I could spend a lot of time up here, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to try to mention a lot of names because I'm going to forget people, and you know how that is. It's hard, but probably some names need to be mentioned. But I think we started, you know, it's tough when you first start, you know, it is. Trying to get things together, get yourself together, knowing what you want and how to do it. And I think all coaches can probably say that. And we had our lumps too. And we were playing in that tough Fresno league, and we're playing all the Fresno schools, and here's Merced way over here. Oh, I guess Madera was closer, so that was a little bit closer. And so, you know, your team's out in left field, and they don't let you out early. So here we go on the bus ride. We're getting there, and I said, okay, we're getting close. Start warming up your arms. And they're doing all this stuff because that's all we had. We had to just warm up in 5 minutes, and we're on the field taking infield if we wanted to take it. And you're ready to go. And that's no way to play. I mean, it's just, you know. And that first year we were in that league, we lost 8 or 9 one-run ball games. I tore my heart out, and I know the kids felt it too. And me being a young coach, full of fire and everything, oh my God. I wasn't afraid to cry in front of them, because I did. And if it was for something stupid, then they had to pay the price. I mean, we had to run. But I think, what? We? Yeah, I ran. I did everything my ball players ever did. Ask them. Well, I shouldn't say everything bad. But I was right there running with them when we used to do our sprints and so forth. But we didn't start having success until the early 70s, right in there. And then we had the group of Dallas, Morgan, and Garvin. Thank you. And that group there's some of the ball players. But there was 3 of them that played for me as freshmen. Never have played a freshman or varsity ball, but those 3 started as freshmen. Morgan was a little bit, still a little weak. I could see his potential. He choked up on the bat. Billy Morgan. That's how he started out. He started moving down the bat. But he just kept coming on, getting better. You could see it as time went. And after that summer and playing freshman ball in another summer, he was ready to go. And so was that group, and we won, we won 3 championships there in a row, and then followed up by some other championships. Well, our strongest and best team, that 78 team. And a little bit was mentioned about that team, but I'd like to tell you a little about that team too. Because we were undefeated that year, and yeah, they were starting to get their little swagger going, you know, and they were feeling confident in themselves and feeling good about themselves. And, you know, they were a good ball club, but, you know, they hadn't been really tested yet, but they were feeling good about themselves. And we went into the Fresno Easter Classic baseball tournament, which I thought would be a good matchup for us to see how we would probably fare as we went through the year. And you have about 4 pools or groups, you want to say, of teams. Probably 8 teams in a group. And anyway, you play round robin sometimes, and most of the time it's that way. Or not a round robin, you play maybe half the teams once or whatever. But we won all our games, not all our games yet, but we won 3 games, and then we had to play the 4th game to see whether, or 5th game, whatever it was then, to see if we were going to go into the championship game. Well, thanks, Eugene. I'm sorry. I think some of the kids used to remember some of these things. I just saw it. We used to, instead of weightlifting, we did that 1 year. And you know, the kids that didn't like it too much went through the motions, acted like they were busy. But same thing with weightlifting. Some loved it, some didn't. And anyway, getting back to the baseball. So it was an afternoon game, and so we already kind of knew, some of the teams that played earlier, we already kind of knew who was going to be playing in the championship game, more or less. And of course, Bullard, like we said, the big, you know, big team there in Fresno. Me and their coach used to tangle up a little bit and speak some pretty good words at each other. Especially when he looks at my club card and he says, "Hey, you can have your cheesy scorecard." I had a few words for him. That's the way he talks. I'm not exaggerating. So Bullard was there to watch our game because they knew everybody knew we had a good ball club. And so we were playing relay that day. And the way they have it set up, possibly we could have 4 undefeated teams. And the way you chose who went to the championship was kind of a run differential. In other words, you had to beat whatever you beat your opponent by in this game and this other game. If you beat them by more runs than this other team did, their opponents, then you got to go to the championship. So we still had a chance, and we were playing relay that afternoon. The only thing was, we had to beat relay by, oh, it was ungodly. What sticks in my mind was 26 runs. You know, we might score that in 3 games. But we only had 1 game to do it. Well, I went over to their coach and I said, Coach, I said, you know what we have to do. And I says, we're going to try to pour it on, and not because I pour it on, but just because we have to win this game. I said, we're going to do everything we can to win. Steal, hit and run, whatever we have to do. And he says, yes, I understand. But he says, we're not going to lay down either. And I said, I don't expect you to. So we went into the game, we were running and going and everything, and it happened. We won the game by 27, 28 runs, I don't know what it was, but we got to go into that Bullard game, still undefeated. Well, it happened that we had a great team, Bullard had a great team. They had an outstanding pitcher in this Flanagan. I forget what his first name was, Eric or something, Flanagan maybe? Phil Flanagan. And we had Michael Evans as our left-hander. Both about the same build, except he was a little huskier, I think. Both had identical win and loss records since their sophomore year. Okay? They had only lost 1 game, both of them. And they had won something like in the high 20s or low 30s, something like that. Like they won 33 games and only lost 1, a record of something like that. I can't remember. And the ERA was very close. I couldn't remember if it made any difference. So this was the big talk, you know, big game. And the stands were packed, it was full, and the big matchup to see who was going to come be victorious between the 2 teams and the 2 pitchers. Well, As you heard Bobby Johnson, we won that game. And beat the teeny little Codes too. If you knew him, you know why I'm kind of making fun of him, because he was a AS. So we continue to go on, and we're winning, and so we win the league championship. We go on to the section championships, and we win our first 3 games there, I guess, or 4, whatever it took, and then we're facing, for the championship game, this Yuba City High School from Yuba City. Sometimes they don't always have the same thing, but they were the honkers, you know, because of the geese up there. And they were a scrappy, tough, good ball club. They just happened to lose a game early on. And so they were in the losers bracket, and they had to keep winning to come and play us. So they had to beat us by 2. It was Saturday night was a playoff game, and they had to beat us by 2 games. They had to lose 2, in other words. We only had to beat them 1 time, but they had to beat us twice. And it was Saturday night, and it just happened that Merced High School had prom night. So, you know, we get ready, we go to play the game, but you can imagine where their heads were and what they were thinking. They probably had everything ready to go, their cars all ready and all this kind of stuff. We played that game and we're not in the game, and oh, it was ugly, and we lost. Then they were really ticked off and mad. And they were so mad. They were all sitting in different places. I mean, nobody was together, and you know, they were mad because their heads weren't in the ball game, and they were thinking of the prom. Then they got all together, and they were all talking and said, "Let's get this game over, let's beat them, let's go after them, let's take care of one," instead of thinking of the prom and all that. And we did. We beat them, and that gave us a 29-1 record. We had 28 straight wins at that time, which I think both those records still stand to this date. And that was what kind of led in some of the challenges that team did have. And we met some and didn't meet some. If you go to one extreme to the other, okay, one of your strongest teams to one of your less successful teams was the last year I coached. And that was the year my son played. Wasn't his fault. This is how it was. They did not win a game as freshmen. This group. Okay? The team before them, okay, that 88 team, they had won the league. And they were a good ball club. And my son and Jerry Torres were the only 2 juniors that got to play that year with those seniors. So they didn't win a game as freshmen in their freshman year. They won 2 games in their sophomore year, getting better. That group, other than my son and Jerry Torres, those 2, they rode the bench, didn't play as juniors. And yet, when it came time, their time, they didn't play well in the non-conference games, but when it came to the conference games, they did what they had to do to win the league. if you look at our lineup, the way it went, your weaker hitters are at the bottom, okay? And Sean would admit it, he wasn't a strong hitter. Sean Pacheco was our number 9 hitter, and yet he had the most RBIs during league play. Not for the total season, but just during league play. Our number 8 hitter was like second with RBIs, and it just kind of went that way down the line. And each one of those kids, I could say, I looked at that thing afterwards, and I'm trying to think, how did this group end up winning? You know, doing that. And it's just that each one had a hand in maybe winning a game in a certain way. And it's just how some teams manage to get things done in a different way. But, you know, you just look back and you see your teams, and they had a lot of good players, a lot of good teams along the way. A lot of them played college ball. A lot of kids went on to play some pro ball. And by the way, I'll tell you what one of our ball players said about the difference between pro ball and minor league ball. Money. That's my fellow Rick Williams. And I just have to mention this, that the first time we were working on the double steal, first and thirds, what you call, he was on the mound, and he had this red baseball cap from Al Nido. And he's a black boy. And very, very talented. He had an arm action, and when he did have to go from here was all wrist. And that ball just zipped. But he was standing on that mound, and he was so scared, he looked like he felt that he was on the wrong side of the tracks or something. That's the way he looked, and I have that vivid memory of him on the mound, like he was scared, looking around, so forth. Anyway, getting to the end of things here. Before I finish Gallagher coaching, we got to follow our little bit, Lizzie. Got to follow her at Fresno City College in her volleyball. And Raylene, Richard's, my son Richard's wife, was playing on that team, and they were also roommates. And somehow he got to meet her, and things worked out. So, and we also got to follow our daughter Kathy, and she did a little swimming and diving at the junior college level. And had she not had a bad knee, like myself, she might have accomplished some things. We've had 13 knee surgeries in our family. 13, that's a bunch. So we know what it is. I'd like to thank Justin for putting this event on, and for the family and the memorial that they have set up here and everything. And I know the program is in good hands. And I know he'll do well, because he's that type of person. And I think he has somebody in his corner also that is right there with him. And it's very, very important, believe me. And I was passed the baton by Wes Demmer, who was a very good coach. Then I took it and passed it along to Lou Souza, who was a very good coach. And now we're passing it on to Justin, and we expect the success to continue, and it will. And the assistants, like, I don't know who else you have, but I know Ro is helping you. And Raul played for me, and very talented. Baseball, football, probably could play basketball too. And I had to bench him 3 games. Big play.
That's it? That's it?
Just 3.
Just 3?
Don't tell anybody, don't tell the boys. But he tells me now that was probably the best thing that he ever happened to him. It was hard for me, it broke my heart. My wife, when are you gonna put it back in? But Raul has taken the Legion program to another level, further than we were able to, but it's continued to get better all the time. And he's won several, I think it's 3 state championships now, and we expect him to bring home the whole thing, the World Series of Junior Legion Baseball. And then of course Scotty over at our other school. That's okay. I'm just glad that Merced, the area, brings home people that have played in our area, coaches that have been here at this school. That makes me feel good, and a lot of them, you know, have played under like Lou Souza or myself or some of the other coaches. But I'd just like to thank you all for everything that you did here tonight. It's just, like I said, when I came in here, it was a wow. I look at all this stuff, you know. I know my little daughter, little bit over there, did a lot of organizing, and she did some delegating too. My wife was being delegated, you know, and Kathy was being delegated. Richie's been delegating. Everybody had a hand in all this, and there was a lot of people that came down early to help decorate that I would just like to thank, and I'm not going to mention names and things, but I just really appreciative of this recognition, and you can pat yourselves on the back too, because this is your award also. Thank you.
Coach, I can't relate playing for you because I didn't, but I can tell you, and you might not remember this, I hope you do, you influenced me as a young man, a young boy actually. Like Coach, I'm a Livingston product. Like Coach, I played a lot of athletics throughout my college or high school. I grew up next to Bill and Erlene Elam, who lived next to Rose and George Saunders. Behind them were Babs and Wilbur Ratzlaff. And we would, at the time, Mr. Elam was the principal, we would go into his living room and he would show us reel-to-reel film of Alan and Coach in their heyday. And we would sit there, me, Jeffy Ratzlaff, Greggy Patton, and we would just sit there and just be amazed, because you didn't get to see a lot of sports on TV back then. You got only 3 channels. I remember when the Juarez family would come to the Saunders, Kathy Patton, Greggy, Jeffy, and it was just, it's one of those things where, you know, it does take a village to raise a child. And what I heard tonight from everyone, and many of you I know, that's exactly what Coach has influenced you in helping you become the person you are. So I'm very proud. I am the principal at Merced High School. Merced High School is the home of scholars and champions. One of the things I'm most proud of at Merced High School is our tremendous traditions. We were established in 1895, but what is much more important are the legacies of that fine school. Didn't know it till I got there. I know it now. It is a great school, and it is because of people like Coach Juarez that have influenced the community that way. So congratulations, Coach. Before they present this, I, in '83, was introduced to Merced Bear Baseball. That's a term that's been floating around, though it hasn't been said. Bear Baseball has been along longer than I was here. I was fortunate and blessed to get a chance to be a chapter of the author of the book of Bear Baseball, and that's that gentleman back there. Dick Juarez is the author of the book that I was fortunate to be a chapter of, and Justin's going to be the next chapter. And Bear Baseball is not something you take lightly. I know when I stepped down, it was something that we talked about, and I think sometimes you just say Bear Baseball, but Bear Baseball originated with this man right here, Dick Juarez. And just one thing that probably one of the highlights of my coaching career was 2002, when we were fortunate to win a section championship, and I'm kind of standing on the field not having a clue what I want to do. When the final out was made, other than hugging my wife, I turned around. I don't know if you remember this, Dick, but you were there and gave me a hug, and it meant so much to me. That was before we got doused with water, too. But I just want to thank you so much for just who you are and for sharing with me what Bear Baseball really is.
I can't follow that. I just want to present this award to Coach. You've meant a lot to so many people, and I hope this will hang proudly on whatever wall you choose. And actually, there are more things over there that you get to hang. I'm sure we'll get to those shortly. Mitchell, right, you're on top of all that.
Got it.
Being the Florida Gulf Coast graduate that you are. Thank you so much. And you know, it's funny because you tell all these stories, and I can't hold a count to it, but I see similarities, and I'm looking forward to taking on the challenge, and I appreciate you, all the things you've taught to all these coaches that have taught me, and I look forward to carrying on the tradition. So thank you very much.